Welcome back. Okay, so we are going to do a thorough examination of both the TransUnion Credit Bureau and the Equifax Credit Bureau. This is the third video of the series. The first two gave general information on how to get the credit bureau, how to update the credit bureau, credit bureau mismatches, and credit fraud. This video is going to give you the tools you need to read your credit bureau and know exactly what's on it, as well for both the TransUnion and the Equifax. I'm going to go point by point. So section 1 is current information they have for the consumer. So their last name, their first name, and the birthday. A lot of the times they don't have the social insurance number because it's against the law to make it mandatory for you to give out your social insurance number. However, if you do give out your social insurance number and they have your social insurance number on file, it does sometimes help with making sure there's less possibility of a credit bureau mismatch. And what a credit bureau mismatch is, again, is when people with similar information get another person's information put on your credit bureau, or your information put on somebody else's credit bureau. And that happens because people have very similar names with a similar birthday, right? The only piece of information that a credit bureau agency will have, if they have it, that is only yours, is the social insurance number, right? And another thing that I want to bring up is when files go to collections, it goes in a collection cycle. So usually for every file that goes into collections, there's probably about 50 different people that are going to be looking at your credit bureau. When everything's in good standing, the only people that are looking at your credit bureau are your current creditors and the people you're applying for credit with. However, when you start getting into collections and every agency is getting this credit bureau and they all have their own collectors, and it makes it a lot more likely that you will have credit fraud based on your credit information through that manner. So for example, somebody that works at one of these places finds the people with the good credit and forwards off their information to another person who then does the credit fraud. Whereas when you're in good standing and none of your files are in collections, it's only the banks and the creditors you deal with that have access to your information. And really the only time they're even going to look at this is the person that approves it, and the person, if at all, if it's not completely automated, approves increases on the debt. Or when you stop making payments, they might pull this information in order to try and find you, right? So what'll happen is the addresses that are on the top are the newest addresses, and going down are the oldest addresses. Generally, they'll only keep 3 addresses on file. So if you've moved more than 3 times, and in each of those cases you've applied for credit or updated your address with your creditors, then chances are your oldest addresses are not on here anymore. It's only the last 3 that you've been at and you've applied for credit with or updated your credit, updated your information information with the creditors you're with. However, in some cases, this information can be used for tracing, right? So let's say it gets to a collection agency and you haven't really lived that many places, or at least you haven't used your addresses. Like a lot of people still use their parents' house's address, or you know what I mean? It makes it a lot easier for them to find other people that know you, that they can then try and get your information out of. Collection agencies have entire divisions that their entire job is just to call, use the credit bureau and use online social media and other websites to find people, right? And because of the world we kind of live in today, a lot of people's information is out there and easily accessible. So what part of the information on my website is from a collector's standpoint, and also when I'm going to be giving you information in regards to everything to do with credit, mortgages, credit cards, credit bureau, I'm going to be giving you both sides of the story so you know how they work, and how to protect yourself, right? So if the oldest address here happens to be your parents' house and the previous phone number they have is your parents' phone number, you know what I mean? There's a good chance that with the number of people that are going to end up calling that number, right? So the file goes to collections and then gets bounced around between collection agencies, and while it's in collection agencies, it gets bounced around between people. The numbers that are on here get called so many times, and there's a good chance that that's how they end up finding the people. They'll either, like when you've lost, let's say you've stopped paying payments on a credit card and you've stopped paying payments everywhere, right? There's no new information about you on your credit bureau because all your credit that you had is now in default, and you haven't applied for anything new. The only way they can get information on you is by calling relatives and by using online. Another thing you have to be really aware of is, let's say you do have some credit that's gone bad and it's been a couple of years, and now you've gone and applied for something new, and you were all honest and everything. You put your employer's information on there, you put your newest address, you put your phone number. Boom, all of a sudden, all the collection agencies that have all those old files, TransUnion will literally send them an update and say, hey, look, this person's applied for new credit, we have a new employer, we have a new place that he works, we have a new address for him, we have a new phone number for him. The credit reporting agencies are literally there to make money, right? And they work basically on the side of the collection agencies because the collection agencies are the ones that pay, right? So every time they want your credit report or an update of your credit report, or like what I just said, a trigger report that happens when new information is updated, they charge the agencies for that. They even charge the agencies just to have the trigger possibility be available. So they're paying just in case you'll end up going and applying for something somewhere. So remember that anytime you apply for anything, it's going to go on your credit bureau. And if there's any agencies out there still looking for debts, then you're going to have them start calling and coming out of the woodwork. So it's really important to get your credit bureau before you apply for anything, and that'll give you the information you need to know, okay, well, if I have these debts, what can I do about them? If I have these debts, are they still even valid? Are they somebody else's because of a mismatch? Are they past the statute limitations? Right? That way you can take care of everything before you go and apply for something new. a lot of the times the credit bureaus will leave stuff that's already past the statute of limitations on your credit bureau, right? So unless you contact them and tell them, hey, look, this is no longer valid, it needs to be removed, they leave it on there. And they're notorious for doing stuff like that, right? Because at the beginning, the credit bureaus were collection agencies as well. They were just the collection agencies that handled most of the information. So until the law was passed that made it that they can't collect as well as be the reporting agency, they used to collect as well. So everything to do with credit bureaus. Now, anytime you apply for anything, any information you give them, it's going to go on your credit bureau. Anybody who's looking for you is going to get that information. So now let's find out if anybody's looking. So right at the bottom, I'm going right to the bottom just to tell you what to look for in this regard. Anybody who's looking for you, like when a collection agency gets your file, they'll ask for a copy of your credit bureau. The credit bureau has to mark down everybody that's been looking for him. So active collection. So in 92 for this person, a collection agency was looking for them. This is just a dummy report off their website. This isn't a real person. And then these are all three are when they try to apply for stuff, right? So we see 92 active collections. Then in 93 they applied at Royal Bank. They got the Royal Bank loan, as you can see up here. They got the loan and it was for $7,800. They paid it all the way down. We're going by today's date, September 1998, because this is such an old report. But as of right now, they only owe $2,450. This person had gone bankrupt, so it says right here they went bankrupt before they opened up this credit, and after they were discharged from bankruptcy, they already started building up their credit again. And to this point now, they've got two good things in good standing. But because the bankruptcy stay on your credit for 10 years, because the bankruptcy stay on your credit for 10 years, it'll still be there and it'll still be hurting this person, but at the very least they're out. Anything that when the collection agency, see in this case active collections, they pulled the inquiry. They even put something on the person's file calling a collection inquiry, and the person paid it. And they probably paid it because when they went to apply for this $7,800, this probably came up. Oh, this active collection say you owe $750. You need to get them paid. So they paid them, right? Collection inquiries are different than trade items. These are trade items, right? These are accounts where you have a signed contract with them, right? And the collection inquiries are in the instance when it's just a collection agency putting that you owe X amount. Anybody can go down to a courthouse or go report to the collection agency that you owe them money, right? So anyone can put a collection inquiry on your credit. It doesn't mean that they have a signed contract or anything. We find this a lot with parking tickets and stuff where there wasn't any contract, but because they don't have anywhere else to put it, they'll keep it as collection inquiries on your credit bureau. And really, the only thing you can do to get rid of these are either pay them with a settlement or mark them as dispute. But if you mark it as dispute, they're still there as well. Unfortunately, this video has now reached its maximum time. Join us on the next video and I'll go into more detail. Thank you.